This episode is for Friday, September 25th, 2015. Welcome, Crater fans. I'm your host, Josh Owens, along with my co-host,
Ben Strahan.
the mouthing mind, Benjamin Strahan.
How are you, Josh?
I am fantastic.
Fantastic.
I am drinking a 9% alcohol beer, so feeling pretty good.
I came across a silly Facebook video a while ago, and I thought of us, and I was like, man, we got to drink this silly beer online. So, like, while the show's going, did you see the two Polish guys or German guys drink helium beer?
No. Oh, my gosh. That's bizarre.
It was hilarious.
Did it change their voice?
Yes, but it was fake. It was all fake.
Yeah. Okay.
I did a lot of research on it, too, and
Nice.
I was like, man, Josh and I got to do this. It's fake.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Well, so it could be interesting. Like, our podcast is too long, but it could be interesting to like use a little bit of helium. Maybe we'll do that in an opening one day. Just like some helium. And
hello, Josh Owens. How are you doing today?
Not even close.
How you doing, Ben?
How you doing, man? Forget about it. Yeah. Oh, what are we doing here, man? Dude, it's...
Well, I'm having a great day because we sold out Space Camp.
Yes.
Boom.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Like, Wendy and I have been brainstorming, trying to make sure it's going to be an awesome time. So I showed some of the people the T-shirts that Amanda put together. So I'm going to try to get those ordered this weekend. It's awesome.
Did you get my request?
For the extra large tall or whatever, large tall? Oh, wait, no. You have a beer allergy. That's what it was.
You did get it.
Yeah, I saw that. I said, Wendy, Ben has a beer allergy. She said, well, he'll have to self-regulate.
Did you see the other thing at the bottom?
Oh, gosh. There was another piece.
Yeah, you had like additional notes.
I did.
So I took advantage of it because I figured no one would write in there.
You know, someone wrote in about you on their additional note.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did. They totally did. They said, I'm a little scared of Benjamin Strahan.
No, they did not.
Yes, I kid you not. What's that form thing I use? Typeform, that's it.
Yeah.
I got to log in and look.
Oh, you're going to... For the record, someone hijacked my computer. And
You put in your email address? Likely story.
It wasn't my email address either.
Yeah, it was like Spanky. I look at these things, you know. I do.
I was testing you.
You may smell a fart when I'm around, but I can assure you it did not come from me.
That's right.
As said by Ben Strahan.
That's right. Spanky at benstrahan.com.
Nice.
Who is scared to meet me?
Yeah. It was Sir Charles Watson.
Oh.
I think he said just kidding at the end, but he said Benster scares me. JK.
He is the bottom bunk. We're bunking together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, you know, like I gotta figure some of this out because like there is a guy that has a CPAP machine for sleep apnea, but he bought a pack room. That's like, I gotta figure out how to.
Are those things noisy?
So I hear. I don't have firsthand experience, but my wife's ex had one, and she said they were noisy. So I have to find a volunteer to bunk in that room. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
On with the show.
The
first ever Crater podcast. So technically, this is the 75th show. That feels kind of like a big deal.
Is it?
Yeah. And
everyone, thank you for your support.
Yeah. I've been at this a while. And yeah, so we're changing the name to be Crater Podcast. So we're going to talk about some different things today. So what are we talking about? We're talking about GraphQL.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I totally typed that wrong. I typed GraphSQL. Apparently, it's muscle memory (SQL).
We have some notes, everyone, if you're wondering what he's reading.
Yeah, definitely. GraphQL and Relay. We're going to talk a little bit about Meteor 1 point something. Something came out. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Collection by reference. Blaze Plus.
Huh?
And query constructors.
Cool.
All right, let's get into the show.
Yes.
My tabs are out.
I totally missed that.
Totally miss what?
I'm supposed to be your co-host. I'm supposed to catch that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, I'm so delayed.
All right.
For those who watch Gary Vee.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a fan of Gary Vee. Aaron Noda wrote something, let's see, 3 days ago. I didn't even read it till today. I'm a little behind the times. Been heads down. You've been heads down too. You told me that before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he decided to play with GraphQL and Relay now that they're open source and kind of compare and contrast. It was more like just looking at it and kind of thinking through how it works and what could be better. What I'm kind of interested in and what I asked him down in the comments is like, how does this compare to, your experience with Meteor so far? Because he said, like, I have a Meteor bias, so I need to, like, not put that in the article. And I think he mentioned Meteor in one spot. But to me, like, even though we're the creator podcast now, I think we'll still always have a little bit of Meteor slant to it. So I'm curious, like, how does GraphQL play out versus, Meteor's server-side offering kind of thing?
Yeah.
And he didn't really cover that. So I think we'll still be waiting on that. Maybe he'll listen to this and maybe we'll get another article next week. That would be awesome. But yeah, it looks like, he talks about how Relay is handling optimistic updates and GraphQL is kind of handling the querying for data type of stuff. So they kind of work together hand in hand. It's a good read. I'd recommend it. He does have some suggestions in the end. He'd like to see that the mutation updates and simulations, right? The latency compensation should come out of GraphQL and not necessarily come out of, not necessarily live on its own and Relay. Like I can see some advantages and disadvantages of that, right? So if we're talking about the latency compensation, if you think about it, like I tend to write my Meteor methods to be isomorphic, so they run on both the client and the server. And then if there's like a little weird side effect that doesn't work in the client, I'll just run it, like throw an if server statement in there and run that one line of code. But for the most part, like I write one little function there that handles doing everything, and it should work relatively the same in the server and the client.
Right.
And I think that's what he's getting at there with the first.
At least that's what we're used to.
Yeah.
When he was explaining GraphQL at the top, it was pretty interesting that he was going through where people would use this. And a big benefit was like jumping into existing apps and having to be able to plug GraphQL into there. So then I could see where Relay would be a distinct difference in that situation. So I don't know. I could see where Facebook was making that decision to separate the two.
Yeah, they did. But at the same time, like I think maybe it gives you a little more power to be able to modify, like have Relay handle it in a different way. But I still think you could probably send down some simulation code from GraphQL and then override it if you need to on the Relay side, and that probably helps a good bit because chances are in a bigger team anyway, you're gonna have those are gonna be like two separate teams kind of working on things.
Yeah,
in a bigger project.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a good read. I think it's probably dense. Like if you're going to try to wrap your head around everything, it might be a little tough. I know I've read it twice. I actually give you this story first, and you're like, "How about you take it?" So I think it was like
hot potato.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's yours. But no, I think it's a good read. It's probably worth reading, even if you don't understand it. Read it 2 or 3 times, and even pretend you understand it. But yeah, I think the better article, at least for the Meteor community, would be like, how does it actually compare to Meteor, and how does he feel? Like, is it worth learning? Like I think a lot of us respect Aaron Oda and kind of respect his opinion. So
yeah,
definitely worth hearing that perspective.
And we have to so isomorphic code is like coming mainstream, and we have to, I don't know, go where the flow goes what I can't even see. Man, it's like I'm drinking.
Are you?
I'm not. Jeez, take me home.
I'll just take a drink for you.
But anyway, it's like, okay, so Facebook is kind of like driving this, and now all of a sudden they put this out there, and they have a bigger stage right now. So
they do, yeah. I mean, they have more eyeballs on them naturally because they have such a big platform.
Yeah. So then the question is, when people have choice, they're probably going to go with the thing that more people are familiar with.
It's probably worth pointing out too, like Facebook is at a level that most of us will never attain with our businesses or our apps that we're trying to build. So, I mean, I think React is probably a good thing, but at the same time, like, I don't exactly like turn to Bigtables as my go-to database just because like it helps Google scale to infinite higher numbers than I'll ever even care to dream about.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, that's interesting as well. Probably worth pointing out.
Yeah. Dude, so we had something amazing happen.
I was close on my prediction, but I was off by a couple of days.
I was going to just say, like, we were predicting different dates, like here and here and here. And
yeah.
We kept on pushing it out.
I really did honestly think it was going to be August. I was maybe a little disappointed it wasn't August.
Yeah. So everyone, we're talking about the release of Meteor 1.2. Like what Meteor says, it is one of the most ambitious releases other than 1.0. And it brings a lot of new things. And it really, I don't know, it's starting to shape up to have Meteor be a serious player in the community. And in that sense, I'm saying that they're opening up to the community. Meteor has always been like, hey, we got everything for you. We're full stack. We got everything for you. And now they're like opening up and they're like, hey, we're full stack. But now you can take things out. You can plug things in. We're more modular.
Yeah.
That was one big announcement. And so now there's support for Angular and React as well as Blaze. The cool thing is you start it up and you have Blaze off the bat, but you can easily remove it now, whereas before you couldn't. And it's just like Meteor remove, and it's not Blaze, it's like Blaze dash something. I forgot, but it's a package. Yeah. And you just remove it. It's pretty simple. And then you can add Angular or React. You're off to the races without the needed fluff.
I mean, like a lot of this stuff, like at least the package rejiggering that they did isn't anything new. Like if you go look at your Meteor versions,
right.
file, like it's all listed there. They're just kind of changing the umbrella, I guess, and what's included and how it gets to you in a way that makes more sense, which is, I think, helpful, right?
That's one thing. Yep.
I'll be honest. I kind of wish we would have seen a 1.1.1 come out or, something along those lines.
Really?
Before 1.2 came out. Because, I mean, we had a number of things that were sitting behind here that were interesting. And honestly, I don't think they've been touched in a while. And, I was talking to someone today and they pointed out that there was something that was completely undocumented on the docs website, but it was already committed and it had been in the branch for months and months and months, and it just sat there because 1.2 wasn't out yet, and that's what.
Was that defer?
No, it wasn't defer. It was.
It's not in the docs either.
Yeah, it was.
That's a simple one, but
it was something else. It had to do with an environment variable, I'm pretty sure. But, frankly, there's a lot of things that aren't documented. I was working with Dean last week, and we figured out how to flip on. One thing I wanted to do for a while is like easily use CloudFront. And turns out there's a undocumented environment variable, and there's also an undocumented method you can call within Meteor that will let you set a CDN prefix. So there's actually 2 different ways to do it. And that stuff wasn't documented either. But, I mean, there's a number of great things in here, right? Like rate limiting. We saw a blog post drop about rate limiting 2 or 3 months ago, and that was folded into 1.2. We've got some oplog optimizations should help with the load on your server. They're using something called fences now to kind of handle that. So
ECMAScript 2015.
That was a big one, right? Like the ECMAScript should have been 1.2. The Angular and the React stuff should have been 1.2. I feel like the oplog optimizations, maybe the rate limiting, like that stuff should have maybe dropped in a 1.11.
Yeah. They updated Cordova.
They did?
Cordova's using NPM now for the package manager.
Yeah, and they're using Cordova 5.
Mm-hmm. So that was big stuff. So this was a good update.
It was.
And all the frustrations that Josh is talking about, I think, is like right on. But the cool thing is, and maybe we could talk about this right now, is that a big forum post came out called "The Future of Meteor," and people could go there and like read up on everything. And there was a great conversation going on. And Sashko like took it with stride and said, "Hey, like this all means to me that we got to step up the velocity of the stuff that we're pushing out."
You're trolling me. So here's the thing. Like, at least my comment and Aeronota's comment was more about how does the community participate in this stuff? Because I feel like it's hard for like me as a passionate developer to participate in this. And like both Sashko and Glasser kind of gave non-answers. They're like, oh yeah, this is all on our to-do list.
Yes.
I don't, frankly, at the end of the day, I don't give a crap about what's on your to-do list. I want to know how I can help you with that to-do list to make my life better. And I still don't, I've emailed some people at MDG. I don't feel like I have a clear answer. I've got a pull request out there that doesn't have a clear response on it. And
everything's still on their shoulders.
Yeah, I still don't feel like I have a clear understanding of how we as a community works with MDG. I don't know how to make that better. I don't think it's broken, but it could be better.
Yeah. Yes.
So
yes, David Glasser, Sashko, we want to work with you.
Yeah, totally. Like it's a great like to the last or to an upcoming story about Blaze Plus. Lauren Sands Ramshaw opened a ticket and said like, hey, this is a problem, and like he wants to know what do I need to do to fix this. And they talk a little bit through like a couple different ways to do it, but then like Aeronota just comes out with Blaze Plus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's the right way to do it. I don't know because
and so here's Aeronota. He's coming out with like crazy stuff, right? And he's always like pushing the envelope, fixing things, making things better, improving things. If the story was better with accepting PRs and having a clear path on accepting PRs, do you think Aeronota would be like making all these separate packages, or do you think he would be like more of like a PR kind of guy?
That's a tough call. So I'm a PR kind of guy. I'd rather fix it in the framework rather than create a package. I know semantically there's not a ton of difference, but frankly, I was even unaware. Like I sent a pull request that added a feature to Blaze that I wanted. And I found out later that there was a package that included like a bunch. It's called Blaze or template extensions from Aldeed. And I had no idea that it even existed. And frankly, I wouldn't even think to go look for that, right? Like I just wanted like a way to get at the parent templates data context, or the parent templates instance or something. And like that didn't exist in any good form. And so, I made a pull request with fully tested and documented and all that kind of stuff. And it's just sitting there. And I think the problem with the package system is it's got 6,000 plus packages on it now. And even with the metrics that Atmosphere is applying to it, I still feel like it's sometimes hard to, like, a word you use is different than a word I use for something. And all of a sudden we've got two packages that do the same thing, or
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. No,
I think it's better to be in core personally.
So this was interesting. I was not to carry this on longer, but I was listening.
You do want to carry this on longer.
So like we all know the drama that went on with Node and node.js. Okay. And now they came back together, and what did they do? They established a board, but that board isn't making really the direction. Like they're more marketing focused, and who's really doing like the PR stuff and the code. It's like a driving committee, right? That's underneath the board. And the driving committee is made up of actual like community people, and they're the ones that are really like touching the code a lot and deciding what's going in and out. And so it's almost like they're like a middle committee to like really like move it forward so that it's not getting stale. It's staying fresh. Everything that IO wanted to accomplish, right? And so when I'm hearing you talk like that, I'm like, oh, it's interesting because like what Node is now and the issues that they had before sound similar to the issues that we're having, as in the sense of like the code and we want it to be moving faster and things like that. And now I'm seeing like where they're at and what they set up and the boards and everything. And it's interesting. It is. I still don't know that we're there yet. And no. even if we were there, what does that look like, right? Like, I mean, right. Joyent took over. I feel like you're baiting me to mention like Meteor interviews and Abigail talking about forking Meteor. Oh, I wasn't at all.
No, that
wasn't even in my mind, but sure.
That's funny.
It didn't even come to my mind, but yeah, this is a bigger issue. Maybe we should dedicate our first Crater episode to all Meteor.
No. In all honesty, this feels like a Meteor Club podcast topic more than anything, right?
Yes.
We could probably explore this thing for 2 or 3 hours if we wanted to. And you mentioned that earlier today, like we should get some open source project managers on here and talk about what that looks like. So.
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm. So that's something to talk about. It sounds like we're both very passionate about it. And so I think because of that, I'm going to move on to the next topic.
That's probably a good idea.
We don't want to talk about passionate stuff. Gosh, we're just news reporters.
All right. So collection by reference. Yeah. So if you, number one, stop. Go read this article. I think it's good. I think you should know about some of this stuff. We, like Ben and I, have had some private conversations, and I talked about similar stuff to this, and I'm like, well, that's just metaprogramming. And you were like, what's metaprogramming?
Yeah.
And so like we started getting into a deeper conversation about that. And it's the idea that like, if you're going to share code between something or you want something reusable, you kind of have to do this meta programming, which is like maybe taking a class of something or an instance of something and turning that into like a version you can work with. And I don't know, like it's very, very hard subject to talk about, but basically it's using kind of like strings or variables to do your programming. So if you think about it in the sense of, let's say we have blog posts, and let's say we have, I don't know, what's something else you have on a blog that you might comment on, images, right? And you have comments in the database, and you have images, and you have blog posts, and you want to be able to add comments to either images or blog posts. It was fairly common in the Rails world to kind of create this access, whatever kind of inheritance setup where a comment could belong to either a blog post or an image. And so it's it's similar to that. Like you have to use meta programming to kind of accomplish that. And so this post from David Weldon is a good post in which he talks about how basically you can either, if you're in the browser environment, you can say window and give it some square brackets and then give it a string with a capitalized object, and it'll look up this collection for you and return a collection. So you can call find on that. And similarly, you can call root in the node server and do the same thing. And I've used this for a little while. If you look at there's some packages that kind of rely on this and make it work. And there are other ways to get at this stuff too. There's another package called collection. Oh gosh, what here? Someone mentioned it in the comments. Just totally slipping my mind now. It's a David Burrell's package, and I really can't think of the name of it now. But he's got like a collection instance or something like that. But I mean, the idea is that you can programmatically access a collection and kind of do things with it, which I think can be helpful, right?
Absolutely.
Did you read this post?
I just glanced at it.
Okay.
I'm going to keep it up so I can read it more afterwards.
Yeah. Well, and so he gives a good example here in that they're incrementing some stuff on games and videos, and it's like scores and views, right? But he's written one increment function. So like finding the right use case for this is a little tough sometimes, but it comes along and it presents itself if you know about this pattern. And he takes the collection name and an ID and a field and amount, and he'll increment the field on the collection to a certain amount. And he uses this this little trick of calling root or window to kind of make it work. It's a good trick. The only thing I think you have to be careful of, and I asked him to edit this because I think potentially you can open yourself up to a security hole. If you take a collection as a string and convert it on the server and then just do a find call, in particular, if you look at, I think it's Andrew Mizow. I'm probably saying that wrong, but he's got a package called autocomplete out there, and he suggests that you take a collection and a selector and some find options and just trust them all from the user. The problem is it's going to be like, I could hand you any collection name and any selector and any option, and you're going to return me some data. So it's kind of like just basically installing auto-publish for anyone that's paying attention. So
yep, that's
it could get you in trouble. So in his example, he did add some security stuff here to make sure that it's coming across like you want. But in his example here, you probably want to make sure that what's being passed in collection-wise is game or videos, right? Like if you have an increment function and you want to say like, oh, you can run on these collections, you probably want to make sure that it's being passed in as those collections, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to, like if you think about, you have a user collection and they have like subscribed for months number and it's set to 1, and someone goes in there and says, oh, I'll just give myself 12 more months,
Yeah.
Like that's going to be bad. So a little double-edged sword here.
Totally. Yo, Blaze Plus.
Plus.
So, Flow Router is a pretty awesome router. It was removing the data context from its router, and it was doing like template subscriptions and things like that.
It doesn't do. It encourages you to do template subscription.
Yes. I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
Yeah. It removes subscribing from the router.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which I think I'm of the mindset that that's the right track to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But with that, let me miss my tab. but with that, people were saying, "Oh, I want some more control and all that stuff." And there was a few other things that came up in the community. Oh, I'm drawing a blank right now. Anywho, people know this, that Aeronota turned around really quick and released Blaze Plus, which is a pretty cool package. And it improves Blaze with rendering data so that it doesn't re-render the whole template. And so on Kadera, he posted a awesome blog post said introducing Blaze Plus, the next generation of Blaze templating. And it talks about the Blaze Plus package. And yeah, what do you think about it, Josh?
I'm a little mixed here. So I think the ideas are interesting. My problem is, like I was hesitant to try out Flow Router because I've seen Aeronota start things and shut them down. Mm-hmm. I think Flow Router is probably here to stay. But, reading the comments, it sounds like he's not actually using Blaze Plus anywhere. He just kind of made it to prove that it could happen and that, it's a thing the community needs. And while I agree with that, I also think, maybe Aeronota needs to do his work somewhere else where other interested people can kind of participate in the GitHub and push it forward. I don't know. I've seen Velocity kind of, wax and wane with the participation. And I don't know what it takes to run a successful open source organization or even just a singular project. I think a lot of this stuff is tough. Again, this is one of those things, like I would love to see the discussion opened and a deeper kind of discussion go into, with MDG to understand what their thinking is towards this kind of stuff. Would they be open to this kind of stuff being folded into Blaze? Because the crux of the problem is this, right? Like if I publish some data to the client and it's got A, B, and C, and I put A and B on the page, but then the server detects C changed, it sends an update over DDP, the client gets it, it re-renders the entire template, even though it doesn't need to. And Aeronota in this is proposing that we go to a more React-like structure where it's, top-down, like you have a root component that's passing data down to children.
Yeah.
But the problem is, even if the root component doesn't rely on something that changes, it's going to re-render everything. And this is going to be a problem that we have to deal with. And I think Blaze Plus kind of deals with that a little bit. And I don't know. I think it's an interesting solution, and if it can solve some of this performance that you have on the client, it could be a good thing.
So this is like when React people say have smart parents and stupid children.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the problem is that anytime you pass that data from parent A to child B, then you've created essentially a calculation in Meteor, and anytime that reactive data changes, it's going to rerun that calculation and re-render that entire template. Mm-hmm. So I honestly, what we're saying is Blaze needs to be a little bit smarter here about how it's picking and choosing what it re-renders. That's really it. That's the crux of the problem. And I'd love to see it solved. If some data doesn't change, like I don't want to re-render a bunch of things just because a parent template changed. And Blaze, actually, Spark had a much bigger problem with this, and they've cut it way back.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
When 08 came out. So it's definitely improved, but I think here we are. 08 came out. Like what the hell? That was probably my second month at Differential, so it's been over 2 years now. We've been living with Blaze. Like, I think we could maybe upgrade it a little bit. I don't know. It's been a while.
It has been. I still remember those dev shop chats that was it David
Greenspan?
Yep. He was rewriting Blaze, right?
Yeah,
he gave like 3 of them. He gave little teasers.
I will say this, like Greenspan is probably one of my favorite guys at MDG. Like whenever he gives a talk, he's very, very methodical, gives good talks. Even like the dependency management stuff that he did, like
Yes.
that's got to be the single most boring topic you might
Oh
ever
my
talk
God.
about. And like he shows he wrote a piece of code where he used the constraint solver to solve a Sudoku board, and like
Mhm.
a second, like if you blinked, you missed it, but it was done.
Yeah.
So
It solved it. I swear. This is so fast. It was
yeah.
like some comment like that.
Well, he at least had a button you had to press. So
Yeah.
it would look blank, and then he pressed the button, it would be like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah. Those are impressive talks.
Yeah.
I always watch those talks 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. So, I'll be honest, like I love that Aaron Oda is pushing this envelope, right? If you look, like he's definitely pushed the envelope a lot prior, right? Oblog kind of started as an experiment of his and made its way into Meteor. So, my hope is that MDG's listening to this and maybe we'll see some awesome stuff out of Blaze for 1.3 or how, I don't know how versioning happens. Maybe it's 1.2.1. I hope it's 1.3 if Blaze is being updated. Like I think I understand semantic versioning, and then I look at people updating things and I'm like, I don't think that's semantic versioning.
It's the Wild West.
Yeah. But it's, to be fair, it's every project, not just MDG.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
It's hot in here.
It's getting hot in here. So no, not gonna say it to you.
I'll leave this on. Don't worry.
Yes. So leave on all your clothes. In fact, go get your winter jacket and zip it up right now.
Oh my God, I'd be sweating if that were true. I already am. Oh, I see the problem. I have Nest. Just turn down my AC. All right. So.
All right. Where are we at?
Sasha. Blah, blah, blah.
Discover Meteor.
Yes. I was torn. There was, again, like so many good posts this week. I would recommend going and checking out Crater and look at the daily and probably look over the last 7 or 8 days at least. Probably even longer because we didn't do an episode last week. So a lot of good stuff. Right. There were 2 or 3 particularly good ones from OK Grow.
Oh. Yes. Who are those guys again?
I don't know. They're like the best Meteor shop, right?
They send me money. I don't know what.
You're biased.
Every once in a while, again, email, it says, hey, can you join me in this meeting? And I have no idea who this Paul guy is.
Guy, who are you? What are we talking about? We do what here? Huh?
I love OK Grow.
Yeah.
I don't
know. I was so torn on like this last story, but I don't know. Sasha's been putting out some good stuff too.
This is a good article.
It is. And so, he talks about publications and some of the stuff that you might want to pass into a publication in order to get some information out of it. And, he shows you a simple find. That's great. But sometimes you got to dive a little bit deeper and you need more than just a simple find. Maybe you need to pass in some parameters, like I want to do a find for this user, and so your option at that point is to move to a separate publication or start passing in some parameters. And he talks about like if you just pass in just a big old parameters option object like that's actually pretty terrible.
You're opening it up. Yeah.
It's like saying, "Oh, we're gonna have a security hole," but you've just created a security hole the size of a Mack truck, and they're gonna drive their big old.
Publications are all is meant to run just on the server, and to like secure your data.
Yes.
You could pass anything from the client in a subscribe, right? And so the publications like totally is just on the server.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now you're passing publication options from the client. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Power.
Yeah, but I think the key here is, he's kind of creating these query constructors on both the client and the server, and then just kind of reusing that latest post function to kind of take what's coming in and pass it through this function and then pass out what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No. I'm not criticizing the article. I was just like kind of giving a general overview.
No, I want to make sure I'm explaining it okay.
Yeah.
So I think this is a really interesting pattern. I actually have not used anything like this, so I'm really glad he shared it. Even if I never use it, like having read this post a couple of times, it'll probably affect my thinking, and maybe I'll borrow from it at some point. Or like you never know when you're going to need this stuff, especially when you're freelancing on multiple projects.
Yes.
It's always.
I love it. These are the little tidbits that you can like just throw in. It's quick to understand. You're like, hey, cool, I could use this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And at the end, he gives you some real world examples from Telescope. It kind of shows you how he's actually using it to power the different categories in Telescope. Not categories, but views, right? Like top or daily or any of that kind of stuff. And they're the same publication. You're returning the same objects. You're rendering the same templates. You're just kind of deciding the different data that comes across the wire and gets displayed. And this is a good pattern for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Is that it? Are we done?
I think we're done. Yeah. You could totally tell I didn't have coffee or an energy drink today.
I could tell. You could tell I had beer too. I think I talked a little much.
Man, I'm gonna have to bring it 100 next time.
Yeah.
I need to make up for today.
Just saying, first creator podcast. Damn. Full flat there, Ben. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm Dean. I'm Dean. Everyone who's listening, I'm Deanius.
You know what?
Step it up.
This is not Ben. This is Dean.
Yes, this is not Ben. My kids always come up to me, and this reminds me. My kids always come up to me, and I give them instructions, right? Or I say, "Hey, stop playing with that. Hey, it's time to go to bed." Da, da, da. Right? And they say, "But Dad," and they say whatever. But Dad, I always tell them, I am not a butt dad. I have nothing to do with butts. I'm not a butt dad. Yes. I'm not Ben. The not Ben.
But Dad, I need that ice cream.
Yes.
You know what? Let's have some fun here. Let's see how many Space Camp listeners or how many people going to Space Camp listen to the show.
Okay.
So I've been doing some fun stuff. Last week, my wife and I took like almost an entire day to try to plan everything out for the weekend and make sure we were on track for everything. And that included I got together the form for the T-shirts and that kind of stuff.
I'm glad you're planning this event.
We ordered 13 board games off Amazon last week. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Are you a board game guy?
No. I've had drama in a childhood.
Oh,
I had a middle brother that just would refuse to lose.
Yeah, Monopoly, not a good thing in your house. So I'll say this: I went to a board game night, and a friend of mine had it near here. It was actually walkable, and we drank a lot of beer. To be fair, but we played some fun board games. They played some crazy board games. I don't think I'm going that far. They had this one where it's like Clue, but you're like one guy's dead and he's trying to give you clues to how he died. And like you're a telepath and you're getting these clues and trying to figure out how this person died. That looked terrible. That was like an hour-long game. It was bad. But no, there were a lot of fun games like Resistance, or I guess it's similar to Werewolf if you've never played that.
Okay, so you got these board games.
I got the board games, and they're all
Cool.
sitting in the front of my house. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm going to order one more. I went to game night and had a lot of fun playing one, so I'm going to order one more.
I thought you were going to mention the other thing that we were talking about.
The other thing I'm going to mention, we're going to have a hack day, all right, and that's on the website. But the thing I think most people don't know is that I'm getting ready to order up some Raspberry Pis. And we're not talking like
grandma mama.
Yeah, we're not talking about grandmama's pie here. We're talking about like computers. And we're going to have a hackathon, and we're going to break into teams of 4-ish, maybe. And you're going to hack for the day. I'm still deciding if it should be random or what, but I think I'm going to make it random. I think that would be more fun in the long run.
It's hard
because I don't have
options. Then
I don't want like the OK Grow team to like try to dominate. I don't know if domination's actually going to happen. I haven't even told some of the sponsors about this. I'm pretty excited though. And
you locked me down. You told me this. You're like, oh, it's so exciting. Oh,
Yeah.
By the way, do not tell anybody.
Yeah, don't tell Paul. Shh. And this, funnily enough, this is all Wendy's idea.
Go Wendy.
Yeah, we were trying to come up with like a nighttime activity, and that's when we decided on board games, which we kind of thought we might do. But and then she's like, "What about like?" We started with Arduinos, but then we wanted to do something that you could still play with Meteor on, and so we ended up with the Raspberry Pis. And so I don't think we have much in the way of criteria. Excuse me, for how you win. But we do I think there's going to be like a most awesome app and maybe most creative app, and those might be the two categories, and then the teams that win will win the Raspberry Pis, right? Because we'll have at least 8 of those, and if 2 teams of 4 win, and then we may give like best app. You may get like a patch or something that says you're the most awesome hacker ever or something. I don't know.
Yes. A ribbon.
Yeah, a ribbon. Yeah, a blue ribbon.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This is my blue ribbon winning code.
Yes. We're like a patch, like a Boy Scout patch, because we're at camp.
Exactly. With a meteor on it. I don't know. We'll see. But we're having some fun with this.
Woo. It's good stuff.
Yep.
Can't wait. So, while we're talking about Space Camp, I might not have a van.
The Space Camp van's not going to happen?
All of a sudden, the guy's MIA.
Oh, you didn't give him money yet, did you?
No, I did not. Luckily.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can rent vans even from the airport, I think.
Yeah, there's options. Yeah.
There are options, Ben.
So, if we come blazing into the camp and there's police officers behind us,
we'll open the
jump
door.
out of this van, we run the last mile.
Yeah.
Later in the night, they come knocking on the door saying, "Hey, have you seen these people? Please deny that you know."
Yeah, totally, man. Totally.
No one knows me.
Sorry, officer. Have some pie. Enjoy and be on your way.
Yes. Would you like a beer to go?
No, I'm not going to say that. We're not going to have any beers. Someone's allergic.
What? All right, people. Thank you for sticking with us, especially today, and for all the shows. Please like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter.
Yes,
it's cool stuff, and then keep on posting stuff on Crater.io.
Indeed, yes. Post your stories to Crater. I feel like it's a great place. I'm biased.
It's amazing.
It is. I have a feeling there's going to be a blog post coming out soon too about like keeping Crater alive and what that hosting efforts look like lately.
I got a feeling deep down in my soul. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Don't give up your J job, man.
My day job, yes. Later, people.
Bye. This video has been a Meteor Club production. You can find out more information about Meteor Club and join the mailing list by clicking on the Meteor Club button below. If you enjoyed this video, you can also hit the subscribe button below and get more content like this. Thanks for watching.